All right, looks like we're recording in three, two, and one. Welcome to a special episode of Nerdery and Murdery.
I'm Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Jeffrey with your Murdery. Welcome to a special episode of the highs and lows and the ups and downs, the good and the bad, and the nerd and the murd. So, again, this is a special episode. It's been in the works for a while. We've talked about it on our regular episodes. And in the house with us, we have the three Geeky Dads, or at least two of the three Geeky Dads, Brian and Mark.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
And we have our often guests from Two Geeks and a Microphone, Michael and Steven.
Woo!
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, as I talked about, this has been in the works for a while. I admit I started talking about this while I was still coming down off anesthesia for my cataract surgery. And so maybe I was just high when I went, hey, man, here'd be a great idea. And I pinged Mike on that. Mike and I talk over Messenger all the time. We watch the Cowboys games together over Messenger.
Do you guys
Oh,
cry together too while you're watching the games?
Oh, yes.
This season we have been. Oh,
It was rough. It was a rough season. But we'd been talking about this for a while, and so I had come up with the idea that because we needed something we could do in three parts, and it came to me we could do V, the original miniseries, and the final battle, V, the TV series, and then on our show we can do V, the reboot. So if you haven't listened to Three Geeky Dads and Two Geeks and a Microphone for their episodes, please do go and listen to them. We should all be releasing on the same day, and you want to listen to them in that order, because unfortunately, the one that sucks remains for our show. V, the reboot. We've all watched all the episodes, and the other two shows. We had a great time talking about everything that happened in those shows. And so for us, for the nerdery side of the house, we're going into V, the reboot. So Zig, I will let you take it away.
Okay.
God, that sums it up. That sums it up right there.
Yeah, that sigh speaks
Yep.
volumes,
God
man.
damn. Okay. This show is dull. It's
Well,
dull.
that concludes
It's
that
not
concludes the
interesting.
nerdery portion of this episode.
Right?
Here's
Shortest episode
you know what?
ever.
And here's what I'll say about this. V, the original series, V, the final battle, and V, the original TV series. I flew through those. I got through
Yeah.
those and watched them all. Boy,
Yeah.
I got into V, the reboot, and it's taken me weeks and weeks because I would
Too
have
much,
to
baby.
stop and go, "Oh my God."
Wow.
And
Too much.
the more I watched, the more I had forgotten how bad the show was. And there was a point where I was like, I wish I could stop watching this.
It's not the acting either. The acting
Oh,
is
yes,
not
it is.
bad.
Oh my God, the acting is terrible. The acting is terrible.
Oh.
Scott Wolf
I
is a
don't think the
terrible
acting is
actor.
terrible. The
Mhm.
writing
Even Marina,
is
and okay, I have that
horrendous.
note. Marina Baccaine was pretty bad, and I think it must have been the writing
Really?
of the direction because
Yeah.
she was bad in this.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
direction was bad.
Oh,
You know,
she's the
we,
best eye candy.
Yeah,
oh my,
Oh, wait.
Elizabeth Mitchell
Which
was,
show am I on? Sorry, hang on a second.
you know, and then we get this.
Elizabeth Mitchell was a block of wood.
I know, and I love her so much, man.
Same
She-
here.
I have such a huge.
And then
thing
in
for
and then
Elizabeth
in this
Mitchell.
reboot, we get the discount Hugh Jackman,
Yeah.
the blue light special Hugh Jackman.
Oh God.
And
Okay.
Alan Tudyk goes out like a bitch.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true. That's
He
true.
gets
I give you
wronged in this show.
Mhm.
that.
I like Scott Peters. I think I'm liking what he's doing. I'm trying to think of who else. Yeah, Elizabeth Mitchell was terrible. Marina Baccarin didn't kill me as much, but Elizabeth Mitchell's performance was terrible. It was like she was reading the script, like she's reading it off cue cards.
She probably
And-
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Laura Vanderroot, whatever her name is,
Vandervoort.
Lisa,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
she
from
was just
Smallville.
there. She was just there for eye candy.
She's eye candy.
I mean,
Super eye candy.
Yeah.
yeah, and it was,
Yeah.
can't discount that, but it was just it was bad.
Mm.
I see what. Yeah. Not enough pretty
Wow.
So let's
faces
go
to
over-
save that show, man.
Mhm.
For sure.
Yeah. Let's go over some facts and figures real quick, just
Okay.
to kind of get it out of there. It was an American science fiction television drama series that ran for 2 seasons on
Amazingly.
ABC from November 3rd, 2009 to March 15th, 2011. It was a remake of the 1983 miniseries created by Kenneth Johnson, who we've talked about throughout 3 episodes of our shows. It stars Elizabeth Mitchell and Marina Bakarin. It was executive produced by Scott Rosenbaum, Yves Simoneau, Scott Peters, and Steve Perlman, and Jace Hall. It was produced by the Scott Peters Company, HD Films, and Warner Brothers Television, and it was canceled after 2 seasons. And it's the
Thankfully.
same story. A giant spaceship appears over 29 major cities in the world, and Anna, the beautiful and charismatic leader of the extraterrestrial visitors, declares that they come in peace. The visitors claim to only need a small amount of Earth's resources, in exchange for which they will share their advanced technology and medical knowledge. As a small number of humans begin to doubt the sincerity, seemingly benevolent visitors, FBI counterterrorism agent Erica Evans, which is Elizabeth Mitchell, discovers that the aliens are actually reptilian humanoids wearing pseudo-human skin, and they have spent decades infiltrating human governments, businesses, and religious institutions. There is also a shadow government force working in tandem with some guys in the FBI that she works with, who are basically tracking the sleeper agents. And that's where Mark Singer comes back. He's actually in the last episode.
And I've got that note.
It's
I
the
really
best
think
part
that
of the
Mark.
series, and it's only 10 minutes.
No,
Wait a
and I thought Mark
He's in-
Singer. Yeah, he's in season 2, episode 10.
Oh, okay. And
Um,
where does Diana come in?
so she comes in about midway through season 2,
Okay.
Yes.
if I remember right. And I was
Yes.
happy Jane Badler came back as a guest star. I was really happy about that. Mark Singer, to me, it felt like it was desperation versus a throwback for
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
bringing him into that
Yeah.
episode.
Did his
Yeah,
nostrils
but I
get
mean,
bigger?
Does he what?
Did his nostrils?
he doesn't
get-
unflare them in all his scenes. They're flared the whole time. He's very serious. He got a little
we
goatee
had
going on.
to get the nostril joke in again.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
3
Well,
for 3,
by
Mike.
at that point, he was in full Singer mode. He was
Yeah.
Yes.
he was just, this is post Beastmaster, post everything. This is not just Mark Singer. This is super Mark Singer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's so much about this that bothered me. In the first couple of somewhere in the first couple of episodes, the alien orbs that come out, stolen directly from Phantoms.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, those were awful.
You know, you say that, and my first thought was actually they live. Because in They Live, they have these-
the orbs.
Oh,
there.
yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they do.
The special effects for Anna's alien mouth is so bad. It's so bad. I mean, yes, terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Look, her whole jaw unhinges and it comes out, and there's a lot of green screen too when they're on the ship.
Yeah.
It's not good.
The
That was
one
a
thing
popular
about
trend in that time
Yeah.
too of
yeah.
CGI monster makeup. Everything had to
Yeah,
stretch.
and CGI background.
And just had to, everybody had to have the stretchy mouth thing. Be it V, the remake
Mummy.
of I Am Legend, the Mummy, stretchy mouth equaled scary for some reason.
The one
No,
thing
I
they
didn't get
did,
it either.
the one thing they did good in here that I talked about in the previous episodes, at least in this, they explained why they didn't just come in and lay waste. They needed the humans to repopulate their race.
Yeah.
And so that's what they were doing. They actually had a reason here instead of just they needed the resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I do like that part. I will give you that. That was good, and I will give you that I liked everybody but the main characters in the series. Does that make sense? Like the acting with everybody outside, again, with the exception of Scott Wolf, because Scott Wolf, I totally fucking believed. Fucking believed.
Which one's Scott Wolf?
The reporter.
The reporter, the news,
the
the TV reporter. I thought he was terrible.
I totally believe Scott Wolf. No, he's a terrible human being, but he pulled that off. Like,
He's a terrible human
Is he a terrible human
yeah,
being?
he
Oh,
pulled
he's
that
in
off.
real life, sure.
He's like a
Oh,
creepy
really?
No,
little
I don't
shit.
know.
I don't know.
You know, everybody's a terrible human being these
Yeah.
days up there.
I agree with what Zig said. I think it was the writing or the direction that made the acting so bad, because there are some people in there in this show that are actually good actors and actresses, but
Yeah.
in here it was awful. It was terrible.
It's like phoned in and it's boring.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and that's the
It's
thing. It was
dull.
boring. Yes.
Boring.
It was
Yes.
dull, just dull.
Which was
And
also
I
the
watched
thing they were
old
doing
Doctor Who.
back then. They were doing this before. They tried bringing back old TV
Yeah.
shows and modernized them by making them boring. It's like, well, these are going to be not
making them
hammy.
gloomier.
These are not going to be corny, but they're not going to.
Yeah,
They did this with
you take out
Kolchak
everything
the
that
Night
made the originals
Stalker.
fun.
Kolchak the Night Stalker was another thing they tried doing around the same time.
Yep.
Same problem. Like, we're going to make it more serious and dark, and we're
Yeah.
going to have bigger monsters, and you're boring the hell out of me.
Exactly.
What made Kolchak great was the goofiness of the show.
Yeah.
And what made V great was because it was just fun and maybe hokey.
Yeah.
And some of those effects, sure,
Yeah.
but at least I'm having a good time watching that.
Right. You had likable good guys that you wanted to root for.
Right, and you were just having fun watching the show, which it took you guys. You guys said it took you. You flew by watching the original series and everything, and it was like trudging through the desert with this one.
Yeah.
It's just dull.
A slog.
Well, okay. So the original miniseries, we've got the Hood, whose brother is a doctor who gets killed, and he becomes a resistance fighter, and he makes friends with the cop, who's also become the resistance fighter, and those two storylines were compelling. You get none of that in here. None of that. Mark Singer and Ham Tyler could not be opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
But because of the circumstances they're in, they're working together to save humanity.
And they tried this here with the FBI agent and the priest, and it just didn't work.
Right.
It just didn't work real well. Talking about special effects too, I brought this up in I think in 2 Geeks on a Microphone, the whole idea of them wearing human skin suits and how did they hide some of their ridges and whatnot. My problem here was the tail that came out of nowhere.
They had
Where
a
was
tail?
it?
I missed
Oh God, Anna's deadly tail that she used to impale with. Oh my gosh.
That's how she killed Diana.
Yeah.
Did she do that? Oh wait,
in the final episode. Yeah, the final episode. That's how she kills Diana.
I only watched season 1. I didn't watch season 2. And I'm gonna say something that's gonna shock you guys, because I was one of the most vocal about I hate the remake. Okay, I remember when this originally aired. I think I watched 3 episodes, and I went, I can't watch this. I don't like it. And I was like, I remembered loving the original series.
Yeah.
And I was looking so forward to a remake of it. And I remember watching it and I hated it. And I think the reason I didn't like it is because when I watched it, I felt that it felt more like CSI than it did V, And I'm like, if I want to watch CSI, which I wouldn't watch CSI anyway, I don't like those shows. But if I want to watch, if I wanted to, there's a billion CSI shows, What do I need a remake of V for that? But the funny thing is, so I finished up the series, the original series, and I went, okay, I got a week before our episode. I should get in some of the new episodes. I'll try it. I binged the first season in 1 week, and I actually started to enjoy it. I was like, I kind of like it, I understand what you guys are saying. I get it, but I kind of liked the lead human girl. I can't think of her name. I liked
the FBI
her.
Agent?
Yeah, the FBI agent. I actually liked her character. And then I liked the black visitor.
What is his name in that?
Who's in the relationship with the human and he gets pregnant and everything.
Well, he was part of the 5th column.
Right, he's part of
Yeah.
the fifth column.
Yeah.
I actually liked both of those characters. I thought they were pretty good. I didn't mind the priest so much. There were times I thought the priest was kind of dumb, but for the most part, I was okay with him. Other characters I don't care for much. I'm not big on her son. I think he's an
Tyler,
idiot.
I
Tyler.
thought he was an idiot. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
Tyler was an
Yeah.
idiot.
I don't like
Tyler was
Tyler.
supposed to sit in for the Jewish kid that turns Nazi.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah,
Daniel,
but see, he seems okay. Daniel was just scum of the earth. Okay,
Yeah, he was.
I hated Daniel.
Mhm.
Tyler just seems naive and stupid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so many
he's
episodes,
too dumb to live.
entirely too many episodes were and I've lost it. The FBI agent, what her name was.
Elizabeth Mitchell,
Elizabeth
Erica
Mitchell.
Evans.
Erica
Erica.
Evans.
Erica
Evans,
Evans.
played by Elizabeth Mitchell.
So too many episodes were focused on her having to go look for Tyler because he was in one problem or another. He was
That's
in
true.
one area or another where something bad was happening. Too many episodes focused around that, and
I'll give you that.
it was dumb. I will have to say about one thing though that I thought was so funny is when Anna mates with her chosen one, and then they showed her eggs. Damn, she laid a shit ton of eggs. Holy crap!
Also, the eggs aren't like this. The eggs are like this.
Yeah, they're huge.
How?
And Morton came out. No.
Yeah. There you go. All three shows. We're making it a thing.
We morphed it.
We morphed it. You guys are going to be using this on future episodes of both of your podcasts now, whether you want to or not. It's in the zeitgeist. Yeah.
I love Mork from Mork.
I did too, and that ended on a cliffhanger, which pissed me off. But yeah, it just almost sucked for me that we had this one for our show because Zig and I are on the same thing. We hated this. I had a problem with Lisa in I think it was either episode 2 or 3. She was calling themselves the V's. Why were they
V's.
doing that? Yes,
Why
the
would you do that
V's.
to begin with? Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's dumb. The V's.
Yeah,
We're the V's.
yes, it was very dumb.
Yeah.
It could have had such a good premise because she was not really wanting to follow her mother's path, and yet she is the successor, and then she ends up starting to help the fifth column. The doctor.
Oh, the doctor on the V side.
Yes.
Yeah, part of the
fifth
fifth
column.
column. I actually liked him.
I did like him.
Yeah.
And
again,
there were
not
there
a
was
bad character.
there was some good foundation to what they could have done with this, and they just here we go. Let's check that E. They fucked it all to hell.
Yeah.
In the worst possible way, because I was excited for this when it came out. I watched this live.
show
I
could
watched
have
full
been
seasons. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. This show
Yes.
could have been awesome. This show could have been awesome. And they were so close. But I think I know what it is. I think they got a bunch of TV writers instead of science fiction writers.
Oh, there
Yeah.
you go. Yep.
That's true.
Could be.
So that's why, again, like you said, it looks like a CSI episode. That's why. They got a bunch of CSI writers just like, oh, hey, this is what's popular right now. Let's get some of those guys in here. And they had final say on what went into the script.
So my biggest complaint though about the show was you know how you I think Zig, you were saying this in our episode. You were talking about Jane Badler, or one of you guys was saying how Jane's hair seemed to get bigger by the end of the season and stuff, which I said that was kind of an 80s thing. You got the poof, so on and so forth. But it made it to me to where you could hide that giant lizard head easier, where Anna's little tiny head the size of a rubber ball from a gumball machine,
with the pixie cut.
right? With the
Yes.
pixie cut,
Yeah.
there's no way you can hide that giant lizard head underneath her little tiny skull.
No,
Yeah,
it's just good science. That's what it is.
it's good science. I actually also preferred the motherships and the fighter ships way better than this reboot. I didn't like them in the reboot.
I like the ships. I like
You
the
like
mother
the
ships.
originals, you're
I
saying?
thought they
I
were
like the
cooler.
originals. Yeah, I like the originals
Yeah.
way better.
I like the shuttles better in the new one. I don't like the shuttles in the original one.
I like the shuttles in the original.
But
way
I like
much more.
the mothership in the original.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing I like about the shuttles in the original is it's the same base design. You've got the shuttle or the fighter, and it's basically a piece stacked onto another piece. I thought that was really a brilliant design idea.
Mhm.
I was like, oh yeah,
Kit
that's
bashing.
very efficient.
Yeah, the idea, and it was supposed to be such shock value. The idea that the aliens had literally been on Earth infiltrating for decades was a really cool idea.
agree.
Which is going to come into the murdery part of the show, by the way.
Oh.
There's a preface for that.
You found alien murderers?
Oh yes,
Oh
I
boy!
did. I did.
Excellent.
We'll get into that.
Shit, they
I
found out
can't
what
wait
I
to
did.
hear Uncle
Nice.
Jeff.
Wait a minute. We proved aliens exist?
I'll get
Jesus
there.
Christ. How come
I'll
we're
get
not
there.
getting paid for this? I mean,
I'll get there. We'll get there.
I can't wait for Uncle
Okay,
Jeff's story time.
Yep.
yay! Hey kids, Uncle
but-
Jeff's got a story.
He scares us.
But it's like I said, there was such a good opportunity with this,
Yeah.
and I think Zig hit it properly or hit it correctly. They picked TV writers versus sci-fi writers, because we had good sci-fi stuff in the 90s and the early aughts when the into what was this 2009,
Battlestar Galactica.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Battlestar
Exactly.
Galactica.
Yep.
Get yourself some sci-fi writers, and you
Farscape.
could have. Oh gosh, yes, you could have done this right, and
Farscape,
this
yeah.
was done horribly, horribly, start to finish.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I got to agree.
The elements. The elements were all there. They had the right cast. They had, again, I liked the special effects. The special effects are okay. A little too much green screen, but okay. If they'd have gotten some decent writers and basically shown the source material a little more love, I
Yeah.
think the show would still be on.
Well, you said the right cast. I would actually change probably one thing. Instead of discount Hugh Jackman, I'd have gotten Michael Ironside. I don't care his age. I'd have gotten
Yeah.
Michael
Got
Ironside.
it back.
I
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. Have you seen him lately?
He's not that bad. He
Nah,
looks
it's not that
old.
He
bad.
looks great.
He
He's
was in the
looks
movie
like-
Nobody.
he's
He
got
was
a
He
white
looked
awesome.
old when he was
goatee.
young.
He looks like Wilford
Brimley.
Yeah.
Brimley.
Wilford Brimley.
Without the beatus.
Which would also
Diabetes.
be awesome.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
No,
All better now.
I'm all better now. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Watch
If you don't want to get Michael Ironside, let me get you somebody closer. Jonathan Banks.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I
I'll
love
take
Jonathan
Jonathan
Banks.
The
Tom
man.
Hanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Michael Ironside. I love him in the original series. I think in the original series is amazing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he was.
But I don't know. I just don't know if he'd work in the new series or not.
Michael Ironside works in anything.
Okay. All right.
Highlander 2: The Quickening has taught us that.
Ah,
You
I'm
can
sorry.
hate that movie, and that movie is
And we do.
awful.
Over discount Hugh Jackman, I'll take Carrot Top.
No,
You know.
no, you won't. Nobody will take it.
Which one are you
Carrot Top
calling?
won't even take Carrot Top
I
anymore.
know.
I don't
hideous
know.
man
I
clown
kind
that
of
he
would
is.
like Carrot Top in this. I think Carrot Top would be pretty darn cool,
Well,
actually.
at least he's all beefy now.
Yeah,
So
he's a
That's
beefy,
right.
Yeah.
he's lizardy, he's leathery, he's got all kinds of problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he would be on the V side, not the human side.
Yeah.
I'm the V. And then he
Yeah.
can break out his props.
He's had
All
so many
V props.
facelifts. He's
Yeah.
starting to look a little reptilian.
He totally
And
does.
you know what?
Woo.
And that's
Can't tell
another
where the
thing.
eyebrow ends and the hair begins.
That's another thing we missed in this one that they could have had because it was such a brilliant concept in the originals. Is these V's didn't have a willy.
In Britain,
Exactly.
in
There's no
Britain,
way
Well,
that
to it.
but not
sentence
that
just took on a whole other meaning.
not that kind of willy, but you know.
But Robert Englund.
Oh boy.
And we've divulged.
Oh,
And
that
we've gone
is
off to the dark side.
perfect.
They're lizards. It's a cloaca.
I would argue.
That's
Argue
right.
that I would. Yeah, and I beg to differ that they did have willies because man, everyone was shagging everyone in this.
That's very
In
true.
this series.
True.
That's
That's
true.
true.
But no, I mean,
But
Robert
the
Englund
character of Willie,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
that was
Nobody
so
had
good.
the lovable,
Yeah, alien role.
Right,
Right.
right.
Agreed.
And it just there was just there was so much that could have been done and wasn't with this.
Mm.
I'm glad it's over that I don't have to see it anymore.
There you go.
Another one you can chalk up to missed potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So close. It was so
Yeah.
close.
But you guys survived.
Missed
And
it.
thank you for
by
taking
that
this.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you for taking this part on.
yeah, this bullet.
You're welcome.
Right.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You're welcome. I believe I said that in the thing. Hey, the shitty one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did say that.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Our chats planning for this have been pretty epic.
Mhm.
Oh
Yes.
Very
yes,
true.
yes, they
You
have.
know what? It really sucks. Is V was my idea. I was like, oh, we could do V. We could break it up.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, we'll take the shitty one. It's like, oh,
yeah.
Well,
Oops.
and
If we
what's
ever
so
do
funny?
this again, somebody else is going to have to get stuck with Galactica 80 if we ever do Galactica.
Yeah,
No.
exactly, exactly.
We'll do the Godfather trilogy.
we'll
We'll
end up with
take
part
3.
three, yeah.
We'll talk about
Oh,
Sophia
okay.
Coppola. Yeah. There you go.
Well, and it's funny talking about the chat. So we had a super long day yesterday, and the chat started up last night
Mm-hmm.
pretty soon before my wife and I were going to bed, and my phone was just bing, bing, bing.
Sorry.
He's got the machine that goes
No,
ping.
and it's funny. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to have to turn my phone because these guys aren't going to stop.
Well, you guys
And we
started
did-
messaging around 11:30 today, and I was still in church, and my phone is my watch is even buzzing, and
Mm.
Brenda's kind of like pushing my hand away, going, "No, don't look at it.
Yeah.
You're in church." Yeah, I know.
Well, I think we've hit all we can on that.
Yeah, we can't hit
No.
enough about how much this sucks.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
So
and how it had potential. How close it really was.
I know,
Mhm.
I know.
It's just impossible.
Yeah.
So with that, though, as promised, we'll step over to the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
So, as I had talked about in our previous episodes, we wouldn't have a murdery on the other two shows. We kept that for ours. And whenever we've done these crossovers, I have at times tried to get a subject that falls in line with the nerdery we talk about. We did the Exorcist crossover, and I did the real life Exorcist. We did a crossover with Mike and Steven one time, and I found murders that happened in their city or in their state. And I like to find that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So
Yeah, that
with
wasn't
that,
creepy at all.
right. So with that, my search began. I started looking for subjects, and I started to look up murders supposedly related to aliens, and it came up very, very short.
Mm.
As I was researching, I came across an article, and when I came across that article, I went, I had forgotten about this. I actually mentioned this case in one of our very early episodes,
Mm.
and so down the rabbit hole I went. And so let me give my sources here. I got my information off Oxygen, Penn Live, New Republic, Fox 61 News, All That's Interesting, and Cult Facts. And this is the murder of Steve Mineo.
Steve Mineo.
So Steve Mineo lived for 13 years, almost entirely in an online world. Most of his social contacts came through message boards, Facebook posts, YouTube videos, and he ended up getting a part of an online cult that warned of alien reptiles invading the world in a guise of human celebrities and politicians.
Nice.
Snake people or
Yes,
Sneeple.
Sneeples. Well, on July
Staples.
15th, 2017, he was killed in one of the most bizarre cases Pennsylvania law enforcement had ever seen. Steve Mineo's girlfriend, Barbara Rogers, made a 911 call at 2:38 a.m. First, she told police that her boyfriend had grabbed her hand and made her hold the 45 caliber pistol and that he had pulled the trigger. Then she said that she pulled the trigger at her boyfriend's urging. And police detective John Borman said it didn't look like a suicide, noting that Steve Mineo was seated on the floor and the gun appeared to have been pressed directly into his forehead when it was fired.
Mm.
Detectives told Barbara Rogers that her story wasn't making any sense, and she admitted to holding the gun and pulling the trigger, but that Steve Mineo begged her to do it. Then she started explaining to Detective Borman what he called, quote, the weird stuff. Detectives were about to be introduced to the world of alien reptiles, a New World Order conspiracy, and online fanaticism, which Barbara Rogers insisted had something to do with her boyfriend's death. Um, so Steve Mineo, as a teenager, he was very withdrawn, but his social isolation took on a new dimension when he became a devotee of Sherry Shriner. Sherry Shriner was a podcaster, a YouTuber, and a blogger. She posed as a prophet, blessed with secret knowledge of an impending apocalypse. She had a devoted online base of thousands, and she most resembled a cult leader. Steve Mineo's mother, Donna, didn't see her son for years, and she had alleged abuse by her husband when Stephen was 16. She kept tabs on her son, however, through Facebook and commented on his posts and photos. And when he started talking about the end of the world, aliens, and lizards, she became concerned. She said it was a religion, but it was also bizarre. Sherry Shriner claimed to be a granddaughter of the biblical King David and that a substance called orgone could be used to kill the zombies and reptilian aliens of the quote New World Order attempting to take over the world.
Makes sense.
This
Wow.
conspiracy theory suggested that everyone from Queen Elizabeth II to Barack Obama were shape shifting lizards whose alien overlords were hell bent on world domination and placed them in power to establish a one world government. We have to pause real quick. Somebody's echoing. I turned off mine.
That might. Oh Jesus.
You got it? It's still echoing. That was at 32.
Hey Brian, our sound went out. Hello, hello. Something happened,
I
and
need
then
to write
it
down
started
the time.
echoing.
32.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Jeff, your sound just sounds muffled to me. I don't know what
Well, I
happened.
turned off the
Hello, hello.
echo
Oh,
noise
okay.
canceling of mine.
We're
There we
back.
go. Now we
Yeah, I
don't
don't
have
think
the
it was
echo.
on our end.
Okay, that was us. Sorry.
There we go.
No, it wasn't. I don't
Nope.
think it was.
Oh, it wasn't us. Then
Nope,
I'm
we're
not
all good.
sorry.
We're all good. It's good now.
Okay.
All right. Am I still sounding muffled?
No.
No.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Here we go. So, as law enforcement, including Monroe County District Attorney Andrew Crockle, looked into Shriner's world, they found that she had 19 websites as well as a radio show and her YouTube pages. Sherry Shriner told her followers that reptilians wearing skin suits were coming to kill them, and it was all part of a plan. Like many other members of the fringe theory community, Shriner espouses horrific bigotries. Nearly every reptilian plot is scaffolded by homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, misogyny, or some combination thereof. Sherry Shriner despised the Jews, referring to them as Satan's offspring and claiming that they were in league with the reptilians.
Mm.
And in a June 2019 article in the New Republic, Jake Flanagan wrote that the group's, quote, foundational belief is that a race of sentient, devil worshipping, shape shifting reptiles from outer space has infiltrated human civilization. Through mind control and body snatching, these reptilians purportedly seek to install totalitarian world government, thereby bringing about the rule of the Antichrist. Yeah.
That
Wow.
old chestnut.
Wow.
Yeah.
The crown jewel of Shriner's legacy was her YouTube channel. It contains 243 videos published as far back as 11 years ago, and they still are out there today. All variations are on the same format, a few frames of almost charmingly antiquated graphic design, reflecting a broader Y2K style paranoid aesthetic, accompanied by a rapid fire voiceover. With a pronounced rasp, Shriner relays an array of feverish plots native to underground conspiracy theory media, often combined with a near encyclopedic knowledge of Old Testament scripture. She had unflattering photos of celebrities that she cited as evidence of the reptilians' malfunctioning skin suits. And public tragedies such as mass shootings or a spate of hurricanes are dismissed as false flag operations conducted by NATO, the Illuminati, or the Democratic Party, all tools of the satanic reptilian order. She said in a June 2016 video, quote, "We've been seeing it on a massive scale. Celebrities, news announcers, even people in commercials. Everybody you see on TV, about 90% is a clone or synthetic robotoid."
Robots.
Shriner,
Robots, yeah.
robots.
Robots.
Man-bots.
Shriner herself described herself as a, quote, messenger of the Most High God, and claimed her belief were drawn largely from the book of Revelations. She also said, quote, "People call me a false prophet. Out of every 4 humans, only 1 is real. We are at critical mass."
Hmm.
Her own self-published books include Aliens on the Internet, Bible Codes Revealed, The Coming UFO Invasion, and Interview with the Devil, My Conversation with Lucifer.
Ah,
Nice.
he was
Okay.
able to get Lucifer. We've been trying to get him on our show for.
That's
That's amazing.
That's a big get. That's a very big get.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys have been trying to get his phone number since October. I know that.
A lot of 6s in it, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Now, Shriner was not the first person to traffic this kind of conspiracy theory. It was first widely publicized by David Icke, I-C-K-E.
Yeah, E-I-C-K.
Isn't that a fish disease, Ick?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes.
He authored the book The Biggest Secret, which, according to Ohio State University, is still a popular book among those who buy into the reptilian alien theories. Those who took to Shriner were highly devoted, and this was something Shriner seemed to take advantage of. One of her followers was Carrie Pingley, whom Shriner convinced at 19 years old not to waste the last days on Earth with college and to work as a transcriber for her Aliens in the News radio show instead. Kelly was told the only true God was Yahweh. Zig, you have this one. Y-A-H-U-A. No,
Yahweh.
I don't think it's
Yahweh.
Yahweh. It's not spelled that way.
Yahweh.
Okay.
It's Yahweh.
The Yaya
Yeah.
Sisterhood.
Spell it.
Spelled
No. Yeah. No, it's pronounced Yahweh. It's Hebrew.
Y-A-H-U-A-H. I've never seen it spelled that way.
I've never seen
Yahweh.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, Kelly took routine trips to New York to protest the new world order. She began traveling with Shriner on missions throughout the country. However, as she indulged in hours and hours of Sherry Shriner's teachings, Kelly's own beliefs became increasingly radical. Before long, Kelly became convinced that the world was about to be invaded by aliens who would enslave and eat humans. And on December 28, 2012, Kelly was found dead from an overdose of 30 sleeping pills while wearing an orgone pendant.
But not eaten by aliens.
But not eaten by aliens.
No. Oh, okay.
After Kelly's death, Shriner sold replicas of her pendant online. Shriner claimed that Kelly had been murdered by, quote, a NATO death squad for believing in Yahweh and urging her followers to stay vigilant in the fight against world domination.
I'm sorry, it is tragic, but NATO Death Squad is probably the funniest thing I've heard all day.
Yeah, I know. So Sherry Shriner took an interest in Mineo, and she was really like a surrogate mother figure to him, according to Oxygen's Deadly Cults. They never met in person, but Shriner kept her personal details secret, and he began building blogs for her, and she counseled him. Sometime in 2011, Mineo and Rogers found each other online through their shared interest in Shriner's ideology, and Barbara Rogers was Mineo's first girlfriend. So they decided to move to the Pocono Mountain area of Pennsylvania after courting online and rented a small studio in Tobyhanna where they spent all their time online and lived as hermits. Their relationship, odd as it was, worked for them, and Barbara Rogers said that she loved him with all of her heart. But things began to fall apart in April of 2017 when Barbara Rogers posted a photo of steak tartare with minced garlic on Facebook and shared her love for the dish. And Sherry Shriner immediately attacked her as a witch, alleging that on one of her social platforms that the picture depicted raw meat besides a pile of feces, something common with Satanist groups. She posted, "What Christian girl goes around ingesting raw hamburger meat? There's only certain types of people who crave the raw meat because they crave blood, those with vampire demon in them." Stephen Mineo was troubled by the accusations of Shriner, and he called a trusted friend who was into biblical prophecy and asked her flat out if she thought Rogers was a reptilian. This friend was Lauren Alexander, and she replied, "Of course not," telling Stephen Mineo that he was clearly suffering a crisis of faith. That crisis of faith, however, deepened as Shriner's community took her side and allegedly came after Barbara Mineo and Stephen Rogers en masse with threatening Facebook's posts and messages. Stephen decided to post his own material, quote, exposing Sherry Shriner, calling her followers mentally sick. He then became convinced that Sherry Shriner was a fraud and uploaded 5 videos between May 29th and July 11th, 2017, trying to expose her. And Shriner and her loyalists essentially cast the couple out and continued to label Barbara Rogers a, quote, vampire, witch, reptilian super soldier. How do you love that?
Wow.
Okay, that now is the
Sounds like
funniest
a
thing.
great
I was going to
outline.
say, I think that tops the NATO Death Squad thing.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Not by much though.
Do you think she put that on her LinkedIn account?
She's good with the label.
Yeah, just go. Yeah.
So they were getting threats, and the threats ranged from bizarre to seriously concerning. Followers threatened to drink Barbara Rogers' blood or feed her to their queen, and eventually sent Stephen and Barbara photos of their home.
Oh.
Yeah, so they were following them. Barbara urged Stephen to disengage from the computer, but that's where his whole life was built. Because again, his whole social life was online. That's what he knew. So on the day of his death, he'd been drawn into an online feud with 2 of Shriner's followers. So Barbara took her boyfriend to a local pub in Coolbaugh Township to unwind, and they stayed until close. Once they got home, Stephen suggested they go into the woods behind their house and shoot his gun. But once they were back inside the house, Stephen took out his Glock and put it into Barbara's hands, knelt to the floor, guided it to his forehead. And she said, I tried talking him out of it. I begged him to get up. But Stephen, he was still very religious at this time, even though he shed the reptilian ideology. He believed strongly that he would go to hell if he died by suicide. So he ordered Barbara Rogers to pull the trigger for him, which she did.
That's the loophole. Yeah.
She then called 911 to report the shooting. She told dispatchers, my boyfriend has a gun. He told me to hold it there and press the trigger. Oh my God, he's dead. She claimed that she didn't know the gun was loaded and called the shooting an accident. Meanwhile, Sherry Shriner, jumping on board this, claimed online that Barbara had, quote, morphed her huge teeth out and revealed her inhuman shape before killing Stephen Mineo. She said, Stephen hated me because I warned him she was going to destroy him, and she did. He just couldn't believe she would do that.
What year was this?
This was 2017. Yes.
Okay, I don't believe her, because in 2017, anybody who saw that along with today, they would have immediately whipped out their camera phone and they would have been videoing it. So there's no video, so there's no proof.
She pulled that right out of the second iteration of V.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
so much of this came right to it.
Did a girl have a pixie cut?
Well, I mean, Sherry Shriner immediately took advantage of this, just like she did Kelly's years before. She urged her followers to donate to the cause, selling the orgone for up to $288 and launching a GoFundMe campaigns, profiting until her death months after Stephen Mineo was killed. So she basically just jumped on top of the death and said, "Well, I can get more money this way."
Did she make all of her followers wear Nike tennis shoes by any chance?
No,
Oh, okay.
I never
Heaven's
saw
They
that.
Gate.
That
did
would
wear
be
those
that would be
Heaven's Gate.
Oregon
interesting.
necklaces.
Yeah.
So police did arrest Barbara for murder, and at the end of the interview, her demeanor didn't change. The detective said that he felt there was more to be investigated in the case, so he reached out to Sherry Shriner by email. Surprisingly, she wrote back agreeing to speak in person. However, before the meeting could take place, she died of a heart attack. Sherry Shriner's daughter has since taken over the online empire. It is still going strong.
That's
Wow.
just wonderful.
In March 2019, Barbara Rogers at that point was 44. She went to trial. She said during the trial that Stephen was upset about problems within Shriner's group, which caused him to ask Barbara to pull the trigger. According to the Pocono record, Stephen thought that the leader was reptilian, pretending to be a human. But Sherry Shriner had told Stephen that it was Barbara Rogers who was possessed. And she said in an interview, quote, when the demon had manifested in her, it was if it was the demon or a lizard, if she had both, a human's no match for that kind of supernatural strength. The one thing I did know, he was no good. A jury was unconvinced that she didn't intend to kill her boyfriend, but they did find her guilty of third-degree murder. She was later sentenced to 15 to 44 years in prison. Stephen's aunt Jackie Mineo said, "quote To me, it's amazing that somebody could put a gun to somebody's head, blow their brains out essentially, and a jury finds them guilty of third-degree murder and not first. She got a break. She got a big break today."
Wow.
Barbara Rogers did appeal her conviction and sought a new trial on the grounds that the evidence didn't support her conviction, and that county president Judge Margarita P. Worthington, who presided at her trial, should allow the jury to consider a lesser charge of involuntary manslaughter. She argued that the shooting was a reckless act rather than intentional killing, and she also claimed prosecutors should not have permitted to use statements she made to police right after the killing because she was psychologically incapable at the time of giving any trustworthy account of what had happened. Barbara insisted as well that her punishment was too severe and that Worthington didn't take into account her military service and mental health issues and her claims that she was intoxicated when she killed Stephen Mineo. A state superior court, though, did uphold the conviction in 2021. Barbara Rogers does still insist that she loves Stephen and said she hopes her case serves as a warning for the cult curious. And she actually told Oxygen producers, be careful what you believe in. Today, there is still a legion of devotees that are wrangling with the cost of having believed in Sherry Shriner for years on end. There are countless posts online that mourn her death and wished her well. Other people, specifically relatives of Stephen Mineo and Kelly Ping-Illy, hope self-taught sleuths become more discerning in the future. Nate Pillingly, Kelly's brother, said, quote, you'd think every time one of her predictions doesn't come true, she'd lose followers, but that doesn't seem to be the case. If I had to say something of encouragement to people, it would be to tell them, look around you. The world is not ending. To this day, there are thousands of online followers that remain devoted to Sherry Shriner's teachings.
Wow.
And that's the story of the murder of Stephen Mineo.
Wow.
Whoa.
I told you I could tie it to V.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lizard
Challenge
people.
accepted.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I sweated that because I was trying. I was looking for everything I could. And I'm going to tell you the deep wells I went down when I just typed into Google, alien suspected murders. And I went down some
Oh,
weird
boy.
deep holes, weird ones. And then this one just popped up. And I was like, oh, I'd forgotten about this. There was a.
Jeffrey's been to the dark web.
Well, there was a
We did a
podcast
Sherry
that.
Shriner episode, didn't we?
did.
Early on.
No.
Yeah.
I mentioned it because I had actually just listened to, I think it was a 6-part podcast over this, and I found it really, really fascinating. And I'd always intended to come back to this, but I'd completely forgotten about it until just now. So I don't even remember the name of that podcast anymore, but it was a good one. It was really good. So
See, I wished you wouldn't have said that you struggled finding this, because I just pictured you going, "Wait a minute, I got to find a murder that ties into V. Hold my beer."
well, I basically did, because I started scouring the internet, because I had to find something. I needed something to tie all into this. So I mean, because so much of what Sherry Shriner talks about obviously came from V. Obviously, it's
Meg,
just right there.
Megan asked me yesterday. She goes, "What's Jeff's murder side going to be?" I said, "I have no idea. He doesn't tell anyone. He doesn't even tell Zig.
He does not tell me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?"
Nope.
And I says,
Keep
"But
it for the podcast.
Jeff will figure a way to tie it to V. I guarantee it." And lo and behold, you did not disappoint.
Nope. No, I thought that like I said, I thought it was a fascinating story when I heard it a long time ago, and I watched several of her videos on YouTube, because cults fascinate me, absolutely fascinate me. I've covered several cults. I love. I told my wife not too long ago. I missed my calling of being
Cult leader.
no, a behavioral analysis. I originally wanted to be a behavioral analysis for the FBI. And I missed my calling with that, because that stuff just fascinates me, how people can be sucked into these cults,
Mm-hmm.
But they prey on the weak, they prey on the people who are hurting, and
Yeah.
it's just it's absolutely wild. So anyway, I thank y'all for taking that journey with me.
Yeah.
I thank y'all for joining us on the show. I'm so thankful we got to do this. This was a ton of fun, guys.
It was.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to this every single day. Just like, okay, is it time yet? Is it time?
Coming.
Can we do
It
this?
is coming.
So I'd been talking to people about it, so excited about it. But that will take us to the end of this episode. As always, you can find more information about us on nerdyandmerdy.com. That's our hub for everything about our show. You'll find links to what we talked about, pictures from what we talked about, plus you'll find the link to our YouTube, which Sig so often updates.
That's right. And we have got a bunch of stuff on V, plus all of the other series that we talked about in this episode. That's why I've been taking notes. And everybody else's episode. So it's going to be a nice little playlist for this episode, for this
Awesome.
special crossover.
Awesome. Appreciate your work for that.
Thank you.
You can also find the link to our merchandise page, or if you wish to show off your nerdery murdery fandom, please do consider purchasing something from there. It helps with the costs that are associated with our show, that along with our Patreon. You can find the link there if you wish to become a patron for our show. Help with the costs that are associated to keep us on the air, keep us with our storage of all of our videos, our uploads, our streaming service, everything like that. As all these guys can attest, this is not free to do.
Nope.
So we do appreciate each and every one of you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. Last but not least, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It really helps us and helps others find our content that may be looking for the information that we talk about. So, guys, with that, I'll let you each do your own sign out. If we want to start with 3 Geeky Dads.
Do it up, man.
All right. Well, this is Brian from 3 Geeky Dads.
This is Mark from 3 Geeky Dads.
And we just want to say thank you guys again for having us on, and for this whole trilogy of terrorism with the alien invasion. This has been awesome. So yeah, Mark and Brian for 3 Geeky Dads.
Absolutely.
That's the
thanks
number
again.
3.
Thank you.
That's the number 3.
That's the number
That's the
3.
number. Oh, you want me to do the website as well?
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right. www.3gdpodcast.com. That's www.
The number 3.
The number 3.
gdpodcast.com, and you'll be able to find everything that relates to our show there. Links to all the episodes, how to subscribe, our email, our social media presences. We also can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and on YouTube. Our audio can be heard weekly as well.
We also have a cult. We're going to start a cult now.
That's right.
And in order to join, you have to bring 1 can of Frito-Lay's processed jalapeno cheese dip to appease your master, which would be me.
I almost said bean dip.
Not bean dip.
Bean dip.
Bean dip. But wait with you. This is why this cult's not going to work. We got to get on the same
We can't
page,
agree.
Brian.
Mike and Steven?
I'm
been
Steven
Michael.
from 2 Geeks.
And I've been Michael from 2 Geeks and a Microphone.
Before we kick off to ours, before I kick it over to Zig for our closeout, I've said it on multiple shows before, and I'm going to say it again here. If you are not listening to Three Geeky Dads and you are not listening to Two Geeks and a Microphone, you are missing out on a lot. These guys put a lot of work into their show. They're so entertaining. They are on my playlist. I listen to both shows all the time, although I'm behind on both y'all's right now. I've been very busy. I've been busy watching V.
And I think I'm up to date on all of y'all's.
I got a few to do
Yeah.
too,
So
so don't
much
worry.
mean.
But both shows are insanely entertaining. I love listening to them, and it's really to me it's like sitting on at a table with friends, just listening to a
Mhm.
conversation about just anything, and it's
Yep.
so cool. So thank you
We
guys
feel
for
the
joining.
same.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Zig,
Yep.
Zig, you want to close us out?
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Jeffrey with your murdering.
Give me